What's up, everyone? Showdown Breakdown live. It's Thursday Night Football, and we're taking a look at Jaguars at the Saints. And we're coming to you on Thursday. Normally we do the Showdown Breakdown on Wednesday, but because there was so much injury news and so many mysteries as of yesterday, we're like, you know what? What we say might not be relevant. So we're here on Thursday, a few hours before the game. We're going to break it all down. We have the information. Let's get into it. We are back, and we're talking Jaguars at the Saints. And so, Bobbywow, fill me in on the latest news. Trevor Lawrence going to play.
Trevor Lawrence going to play. He's going to be banged up. He might be wearing a knee brace, but he is going to play.
Doesn't bode well. What about Malcolm Jamal Williams?
Jamal is active as well. He's going to play tonight. And look, he's coming off a hamstring injury, so I don't know how much I want to play Jamal, but the bigger impacts are the other running backs in that group. So he's playing. Be interesting.
I mean, if we would have done this show yesterday, we could have just we would have had to re-record again today.
No, we did the better thing. And guys, let me know if you're hearing that echo or anybody's still hearing that. Let me know. I don't know what could cause it, but let me know. All right, so Williams is in. Any other injury situations that we're monitoring here, guys?
Zay Jones, I think, is the other one. He's out. And then less important, can't forget about Juwan Johnson is out as well, which actually we're going to talk about Taysom Hill, all right, in a little bit. We're going to talk about him, Geek. You're going to be so happy. But yes, Juwan Johnson ruled out too.
I have a strong take on this game in general. I really like the Saints to win this game. And I think the Jaguars coming back from London are set up for not having a very good game. And then you add in the Saints' amazing run defense and probably going to slow Etienne down potentially. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at some things. I'm looking at the fact that Lawrence is coming in dinged up with whatever the hell he's got going on, and that can't be the best either. So it should be an exciting one. Let's take a look at the matchups here, and we'll get into this breakdown as we don't have that much time before game time. I got a lot of lineups reserved, and I wait for this before I start. I needed to know what DFSupNORTH and Bobbywow do before I do anything. It's like I feel like I'm sitting here with my hands tied. So let's get into this, guys. Looking at the Saints, Derek Carr. So Derek Carr has been progressively improving from whatever that injury was that he couldn't throw a few weeks ago. Do we feel that he's kind of back to himself yet?
I think so, right? Don't you, Bobby?
Yeah, I think the more important thing is what you define as back to himself. But yeah, I mean, Derek Carr threw the ball 50 times last week.
Right.
So he can throw it for distance is all that really matters. Can Olave have a good game? This is really what I'm getting at. Is this feels like Olave breakout game, but that ain't going to happen unless Carr can push the football down the field. So I just want to start there.
Yep.
So it looks like last week Taysom Hill, Tay got quite a lot of work. It's showing here a 56% snap count. Looks like he got a good amount of target. Is Taysom Hill now that Juwan Johnson has been out the last couple weeks? Is Taysom Hill getting the full tight end treatment? Is that what's happening?
Pretty much. Yeah, they're finally using him in the way that he's meant to be used. And tonight is going to be really interesting when you see his price. But yeah, Taysom is essentially the TE1 at this point.
Yeah, they played. Him and Foster Moreau are on the field quite a bit together too, it looks like.
Yeah.
Taysom a 59% snap count last week. His season snap share is about 40%, and again, the 17% target share last week is just really out of
he had 8 targets.
Character. He's not normally getting those targets, so wow, right? Real potential here. So let's look at the rest of the Saints team here. So Kamara is mildly complicated, I think, by Jamal Williams. How much do you think the return of Jamal and Kendre being healthy affects Kamara here, Bobbywow?
It doesn't affect him enough for me to significantly change my ownership, and I'm going to be overweight on Kamara. I just think the pass catching upside with him is too big to ignore. And look, Jamal's coming off a hamstring injury. He's just coming off IR. Yes, there's touchdown vulture potential, but I think overall Kamara's upside is still there.
Okay, I like it. Taking a look at the wide receiver grouping for the Saints, Olave, 87%, Michael Thomas, 83%, and Rashid Shaheed, 75%. Rashid Shaheed in the Millie Maker winning lineup last week.
Yeah, caught that late bomb too, right?
That one play was all it took. A reminder, it doesn't take much for a player like Shaheed to get there. But it looks to me here like you're not really seeing a lot of, quote, turd work here. Keith Kirkwood being the only other guy that sort of has a pulse in the game and doesn't seem to be an important part of this.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. These are the three guys of the wide receiver group they throw to. Yeah,
absolutely. So for me, I like that. I think I always like teams that have a focused offense. Foster Moreau, 8% target share. Not really doing a whole lot. We'll have to see. He needs to be a very cheap TE2 kind of person, I think, to have carry any interest for me. No?
Yeah.
I think so. He's not a sexy play. He could end up around the same. I would imagine he'll get 4 or 5 targets, but Taysom Hill, I think, is the tight end target here.
Moreau's kind of like 3,200. Like, he's not super cheap.
Yeah, that's a little pricey. Irish Jeeves, what was the turd bet? Do you remember? Do you have to drink a turd out of a...
Dak outscoring Keenan Allen. It was no problem. Not even close.
Oh, so you're not drinking... You're not... No. Yeah, I had to change, by the way. You're right. Thank you for noticing. By the way, everybody told me my early week video was tinny, and it's because the StreamYard,
it did your computer, right?
It flipped off this mic, and it went to the one that's connected to the computer, which is terrible. And I don't know it because you don't always hear the video till after. So everybody gave me the heads up on that.
I did 6 minutes with my mic on mute the other day for our VIP Sunday Night Football Showdown, which was I didn't look at the screen, and then all of a sudden I came back and I'm like, oh,
they're like, we can't hear you. Yeah, there we go. So, all right, let's talk about the Jacksonville side of this game. Trevor Lawrence, questionable coming into the game, is going to play knee brace. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it doesn't sound good to me. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't sound good to me.
I mean, I don't know, maybe Bobby, you feel differently, but were you guys any interested in Trevor Lawrence before a knee injury?
I think so. I mean, but partially because of the rushing upside, right? He doesn't run a ton, right? But he's a guy that likes to get out of the pocket, and he'll score a rushing touchdown occasionally. So yeah, he's expensive. He's hobbled. He's a decent play in the flex, but I do not have any captain interest tonight in Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
I feel that. So Lawrence was never going to be a captain play. I mean, I haven't had the best year regardless, but the knee injury definitely doesn't help the situation at all. One thing to note though, let me pull up the power. I'll do that after. So at running back, Travis Etienne, 80%. Travis Etienne is in full workhorse mode at this point. They are just feeding him. They're feeding the beast, and that's a good thing. We love it. But he remains probably a bit more of a yardage guy and touchdown guy than people want to give him credit for. I think he's usually good for 3 or 4 targets a game.
And I think this actually changes tonight. I think Lawrence being hobbled actually increases the odds that he sees a couple more targets.
Gets those little dump offs, right?
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, you're right. You know what? Yep. He can't run. Assuming that's true, maybe a couple extra dump offs. So that is a really great reason to have some additional interest in Travis Etienne. Good thinking there, Bobby. I love it. I love that way of thinking. All right. So at wide receiver, one nice thing about the Jaguars has been that for as long as Zay Jones is out, they're just throwing to 3 guys. This is as tight of a target pool as you're almost going to see in the National Football League. 23% target share to Christian Kirk on the season, 21% to Ridley, 21% to Evan Ingram on this. Evan Ingram. Yes, please. Right.
Yeah.
So these guys are getting all the targets. Last week, Ridley bounced up to 28. Evan Ingram bounced up a little bit without Zay Jones there. So we really only have to account for these 3 guys. Bobby, wow. What Brenton Strange? Do we have to really worry about anybody else?
I don't think so. I mean, Brenton Strange caught his first career touchdown pass last week, but that's not likely to happen again. I think you're right. And I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Trevor Lawrence is hobbled, but I almost feel like if he is strictly focused on being a pocket passer, I don't know that it necessarily hurts his wide receivers in terms of upside. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, unless it's like plant footer, you know what I mean? But that's just way too much in depth to really get into. I think all the receivers here are in good shape.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I'm leaning that this is the Saints day in a little bit, but I don't know how to doctor myself up to knowing what the hell's going on with Trevor Lawrence without having seen it. Like, what the hell do we know?
Right. Yeah, I guess all I'm saying is we don't feel like it's going to impact the pass catchers enough to warrant like a big time lower in exposure.
Here's what will impact the pass catchers.
Yes.
Okay. Saints defense is good, and they're gooder at home than they are on the road. That's right. I said gooder. I know that that's not proper grammar, but I said it, and I'm sticking by it. But when you take a look at Saints defense, let's just bring up the Saints numbers specifically here. So passing, allowing 25 yards per game below expectation to opposing wide receivers, meaning when you play the Saints, it is bad. They are good at stopping the pass. They have Marshawn Lattimore, who is having a career, a resurgent year. I don't know what to call it. A revival year, a bounce back year. He is doing well this season. He will probably, Bobbywow, be on Ridley.
I don't know, Josh. Do you have a lean
Josh,
on that?
any thoughts?
I don't think he'll.
I don't know. They'll necessarily shadow Ridley, but yeah, you're right. He's had a resurgence.
I do think he'll be on Ridley because Christian Kirk plays. I think he's going to slide into, but I don't know. Like Christian Kirk, you would think he would slide into the slot, which will avoid Lattimore, and then they put Lattimore on the outside on Ridley. It just makes sense to me. Not that he's good enough to stop Ridley completely, but if I needed a reason to lean to Kirk over Ridley, because I want reasons, or to be excited about Evan Ingram as the guy who's in the best spot of these guys, maybe that.
I think that's a good point. It's noteworthy.
Saints defense, interestingly, let me go back to that because I did see something that I was a little surprised by here. Saints defense against the run has been pretty average, allowing 6 more yards per game above mean expectations. So effectively, nothing special versus the run, which actually is not. Saints traditionally had been much like a plus team against the run, but we haven't seen that this year as of yet. Let's take a look at the Jaguars here. Defensively, they are actually pretty poor against the pass.
Yeah.
And elite against the run. So the Jaguars are allowing 30 yards more per game to opposing pass catchers, where opposing running backs are rushing for almost 40 fewer yards per game below their mean expectation. That is surprising. I didn't know Jacksonville was so shut down against RBs this year. But my question for you guys is, knowing this, does that affect your interest in Kamara in this spot at all? Jaguars actually have been really good against the run. Kamara's a pass catcher. He's kind of a hybrid player. I don't know that stopping his run actually super affects his fantasy scoring potential, but it is an interesting factoid.
Yeah, I don't know that it does much to move the needle for me. I think those numbers are a bit skewed. I mean, you're looking at games where they played the Colts twice. Anthony Richardson was injured last week, and then you had no Zach Moss or JT the first week. They played the Chiefs in there. They don't have running backs that contribute very often. So no, I don't think this impacts my Kamara exposure either.
I think it's hard because we get so micro on the game, right? But our brains start to, me personally, I think about the whole slate, right? I have a hard time differentiating sometimes. So if I'm thinking of it in the whole slate, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm not going to play Alvin Kamara against a fairly good run defense, especially with Jamal Williams back. But then you also got to remember that this is a 39.5 point total game where Kamara could be in the nuts even at his price with 12 points. right? And that's sort of the hard differentiator that you have to do in your head when you're kind of going through who's a good play and who's not.
You might not see any like massive scores on this one, but I do have some spots I like, and I want to see kind of where we're going here. So Bobbywow, I've loaded up the cheat sheet for this slate, and take me through it here at the captain position on DraftKings. I have a feeling there's not that many turds on this one, because on the matchup sheet, I don't really see too many opportunities to pick up like a guy that's likely to get much work. So we're going to have to be conservative at the captain spot, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. There's some options. I want my flowers for no QBs on here in the captain spot, but I think it's relatively straightforward. Kamara and ETN to me are the top plays on the slate. You know, I know there's Jamal's back, some defensive concerns because the Jags are really good against the run, but to me, those guys are the clear best plays. And so they're my top exposures tonight. I think they're all format plays. I just love their upside.
Yeah, I mean, I have no argument here at all. I think you just want to just fully ignore the fact that Jamal Williams is back. I'm just ignoring it. I think that Kamara is there are things working against him, but he can get there via the pass, even if it's a good rush defense for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, matchups don't mean that much. Guys, I'm going to fucking lay something on you here that is not going to feel good to hear. Matchups only matter so much.
Yep.
DVP and all that shit. Sometimes on a Thursday, weird shit happens. The team's not ready, or, you know, they don't play as good. They play less good. And like, you know, 2 weeks ago, I'll give you a point of how matchups don't always matter. The Seattle defense hadn't sacked the quarterback but once the whole season until they got into against that Giants, and then they sacked Daniel Jones like 14 times in one game. And I was like, this is the worst defense. They can't hit the quarterback. There was like one game they had like 14 sacks. It was bananas. So, you know, one game sample. What are you gonna do?
Crazy
right?
things happen.
And you know, just one more point there. Like you guys have mentioned, like Josh talked about. To me, Jamal Williams, it's the touchdown piece. That's where he would impact Kamara. And Kamara's been getting 10 plus targets a game. So like Kamara doesn't need to score a touchdown to be the top scorer. So that to me is why it doesn't matter that much.
Especially on DraftKings. Like I think he's a thinner play on FanDuel, but like on DraftKings, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I think he's a great captain player.
Yeah. Dalton is saying you need to put Saints defense up in here with a hobbled Trevor Lawrence, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Let's talk about some other spots here, and I think I'm going to be. I'm really on board. Bobbywow, it's like you made the list for me. I don't see Derek Carr. Thank you. Thank you.
So happy.
Thank you for not making me make a face and do the thing that I always have to do.
It's hurting his overall analysis.
Oh, I feel so good. No Trevor, no quarterback. Don't play. Of course, this happens right after Dak.
I was going to say, yes, but we need to be careful.
After we said Dak Prescott had no chance.
They have to run for a touchdown, which he did.
They do. Dude, they have to.
He's got to run for the touchdown. So I don't. If you guys have been watching the show, I'm consistent. So this isn't like something that I'm going to change every single week. My consistency is quarterbacks are rostered at captain on these slates significantly more than their chances of actually being the nuts captain. So it's better to fade them than to play them. Period. You're going to there will be occasions where the quarterback gets you there, but if you're always fading them, you will put yourself in better situations to accidentally have exposure to Rashid Shaheed in the freaking captain spot on that week when he goes off. Because if I spent 30% of my exposure on Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence every single week, I don't have room for these other guys. So that's fair.
Right.
I like these wide receiver calls. Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, absolutely. Olave and Evan Ingram, correct.
I like what you said about Ridley and Kirk. Like it's hard to differentiate, right? I think that Lattimore will be on Kirk or on Ridley. And then you got to look like the Saints play man defense like 62% of the time or something like that. And in man, Christian Kirk in the slot could easily have like 10 catches tonight.
That's a really good point.
Boom, boom, booms. You know what I mean? Like,
with,
especially with Lawrence hurt, I think that he could be your not sneaky because he's not going to be like the lowest owned guy, but like I think he's a decent, cheap captain play if you're only rolling out 2 or 3. Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out there as well because I gotta like say these words to put them in the ether. There's a scenario where Trevor Lawrence is banged up to the point where the Jaguars just suck.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, yes, but also we're talking about the Saints. It's not like we're talking about the Chiefs.
Saints defense
talking about the Derek Carr. They're fine, but like incompetency is rampant still.
Okay, I'm just saying there is a scenario where the entirety of the Jaguars offense just looks like ass tonight.
It's true. That's true.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying that will happen, but I did bet it. But I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I did bet it. But
not financial advice.
Not financial advice, but I think it could happen.
I did bet it with my own money.
It's just something I want to like throw out there because I want to have lineups for that potential scenario. Not saying it will, but I want to have lineups for it just in case. Is there anybody who's missing from the captain group here that we think even has an outside shot of being that crazy, silly for the millie thing? I kicker, maybe a defense.
I hate it, but Taysom.
I was going to say, Taysom's the one guy that I thought about including.
Yeah. Tay. Oh, it feels good to play Taysom Hill at
captain.
But
look at his price.
Let me see what the price is. Let me see what the price is. Hold on. All right. Let me scroll away because maybe not.
You're going to
scroll too fast because you're going to.
Well, he's not supposed to be around the 6K.
I know.
But that's the beauty of it. I like it because now he will be way, way low owned. I mean, that under 10% with that production last week, that's crazy.
Yeah,
he's usually a guy that has a knack for finding the end zone. If he scores last week, he's easily the top scorer on this slate. So, man, I hate it, but I will be overweight on Taysom across the board.
It is not a bad play. I mean, he got 60. I mean, we talked about it before. He got a lot of targets last week.
8 targets, 7 catches. He threw a pass. I mean, completed a pass. Had a rushing
They bring him in the red zone. They bring him in the red zone all the time, like all the time.
You guys have been shitting on Taysom Hill play for like 3 years. I can't believe you come around.
Because it's never been good until now.
You're saying all the other times where I was like, Tay, you guys were like, he's stupid. But now it's finally good.
It's not his fault. It's because no one uses him appropriately. This is I said in the notes, this is the role he was born to play. Finally.
Right.
Do we think that what happened last week with Taysom Hill is the beginning of a trend that they're just going to be doing that?
I also put in the notes. That's the question to ask. They have to. Like, I don't see why they don't. They might be
forced into it, right? What else are they going to do? Play
yeah, I mean, Boston Moreau is there, but they've had a lot of weeks with
of Jimmy Graham every snap.
No,
the corpse.
I think it's Moreau blocking Taysom Hill in that sort of swing role.
Yeah,
Taysom Hill ran 33 routes last week.
We haven't lost the turd hat bet yet, Fatal Fam. We've done a couple, but or not against each other. But Bobbywow almost had to drink it.
I was vulnerable last week.
Yeah, that almost happened.
Vulnerable.
There was a no turds bet that I made one time that a hat was supposed to be worn, but I'm not gonna get too into it.
You get one pass.
McManus grew. Kickers are good here. What? Wait a minute. Am I seeing this correct? That we got kickers now at 5K?
I mean, that's not too far from where they've been.
Yeah, and that low scoring game, you're going to get a bump on them.
Yeah, that's an expensive kicker. Rashid Shaheed. So where are we going for savings on the slate?
To me, it's Evan Ingram's the clear-cut guy as like your strong value play.
He's not even that cheap though.
Under 6K. Yeah, I mean it gets thin, but like Rashid Shaheed is definitely an option. 5K Foster Moreau, again, the price still stinks, but
That's
if
not
you
even
need,
that
you need
good.
someone to 3K.
There's not.
It's thin.
Strange.
Jamal Agnew's maybe your one viable punt, but again, that's like deep tournament play. That's nothing to get
Yeah.
excited about.
Where's
Man,
Farrell?
Bobbywow, I am seeing
You can play Luke
a
Farrell.
lot of turds and tart throws and just non excitement below the Moreau below the Moreau line here.
Below the Moreau. And
Below
we'll get
the
into it
Moreau.
too. This is why, and we talked about this before, this is why I really think we could be in for a no QB optimal lineup game.
Because
That's where the savings might come from.
Yeah,
do the Jaguars run a third wide receiver?
it's Jamal Agnew.
Yeah, but it's split between 10 guys.
They
They
just
Yeah,
run
they
a
don't-
lot of 2 tight end sets. They do that, but they also Tim Jones, Jamal Agnew, Elijah Cooks. All these guys are getting snaps.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. So I do think this will be challenging. Let's bring up the old DraftKings screen here, and Bobby, take me through a lineup build for, let's call it something that's kind of chalky and high flourish, right?
I'm going ETN, captain, Kamara, flex to start off.
So you're going with the most expensive two.
Yeah.
And now I only have 6K left. So without
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram's great. Fine. 6,100. So now I need to go find two cheaps and one more expensive in order to do anything.
Probably a kicker.
Right. Got to play Taysom.
Gotta play Taysom.
I almost feel like you can't do this slate without some a little Tay.
This is your dream, Geek. This is.
I love Taysom Hill. You guys know. Let's see which DFSupNORTH. Which is the kicker that we want?
I don't know. Groupie is the Saints guy, but he's not that good, is he?
It doesn't matter. Kickers are all the same. We got Groupie in there, 66.5.
Last week. Ugh.
Rashid Shaheed, double kicker.
I mean, you could honestly go double kicker here.
Double
Yeah,
kicker.
I think you could.
Ridley or
Yeah, Luke Farrell. Somebody in the chat saying Luke Farrell. That's your cheapy 200 guy that you could play.
I feel like I need to.
Why are we excited about Luke Farrell?
I don't even know who that is,
on.
and what team is that person
He's on the field.
He is on the field, but he is
half the snaps.
But so does Strange.
Yeah,
Caught a touchdown last week.
I think you want to start to line up with Olave.
My one issue with that, I think you're right. That's the way to go. The Saints spread the ball more than I thought. When I was looking into things and researching, maybe the most bizarre thing is that Michael Thomas has been absurdly consistent. The dude's getting 7-8 targets a game, 70 yards. And I think that's taken some of the production away from Olave. So he's a great play. He's cheaper, gives you some savings, but man, the Saints, all three of those guys are getting regular, consistent targets.
How about this? Rance is saying Ingram a captain. If you go down to the 6K captain, a cheaper captain, so that your lineup looks different.
I like that.
You ever want to build a lineup but different? Here we go. Ingram up there. That gives us way more comfort and breathing room. Got a kicker in Kamara.
ETN and Olave.
ETN, Olave. See, the problem is here. I'm not getting. Oh,
Taysom. You got Taysom.
I like it. Now I love this. This is great. Now, like I said, I didn't really think of it in. Yeah. Two pieces from Jacksonville, and the rest all Saints. I would like Christian Kirk in the lineup as well. So I like Christian Kirk, who didn't make this one, but I think that's a good one. You get both running backs in there. I just want to think, like, if I had to sacrifice one of these running backs, is it Kamara or is it ETN?
Oh, I think it depends on who your captain is.
Who are you going to play, though? Like, is this sacrificing to play a QB?
No, to play like a Kirk or a Ridley. I could easily see Kirk outscoring Kamara.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or ETN. So I think that's how we're going to have to mix these up a little bit. Just like be aware that Kirk has just as much, like when you look about the biggest upside guys on the slate, Kirk, Ridley,
Olave,
easily any one of those three could be the high scoring. on the slate. Of course, yeah, I don't think Kamara puts up 30s. I think Kamara is not a player that is likely to put up a 30-plus score. Like, he's more of like get you 18 to 22 with all the PPR. He could, he'll have that one smash game a year, but he's not like a touchdown machine. And now that you have Williams back, he's just less likely to be hammering him in. And oh, by the way, the Jaguars have been really, really good against the run. So,
yeah, the paths for Kamara failing are there. I just still think he's the safest.
Look how good Jaguars are against the run.
Yeah.
Agnew or Jones would say, yeah, I don't know. That's another way to go. I think those turds are going to have to be in your lineups, guys, a little bit. Is FanDuel a little bit easier this week,
yes.
Bobbywow?
Yes, it is. Okay,
so let's jump over to FanDuel. Let's see. By the way, easy FanDuel is almost a bad thing because it just means like everybody has the same 3 or 4 versions of a lineup. But take me through the captain spot on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think to me, it's the QBs and running backs again. I think one way to maybe get a little leverage is to be underweight on Lawrence. I just don't know that he's got the C. I think he could put up a good game, but I don't know that he could be the top scorer with the injury. He relies on being mobile. So I think it's ETN, Kamara, and Derek Carr for me in that order.
ETN, Kamara, Derek Carr. Yeah, I feel it. Schefter, he's expected to start. ETN, Kamara, both the highest star plays. 15-5, 15. Derek Carr, okay.
One thing we didn't talk about too, Derek Carr is really cheap on DraftKings. So maybe we could revisit that later, but he's cheap for a QB.
What's the salary looking like? What
he's under 10K.
Yeah. I get it. Where's my boy Tay-Tay?
He's 8,800. He's 8,800.
Yeah. That is like a low number for a quarterback for sure. Taysom Hill 8K on FanDuel.
He's a phenomenal play.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill, Evan Ingram's in that zone. I think Jamal Williams is in play on FanDuel if you're looking for maybe a lower owned guy.
Deep. I don't know about that. But yeah, I get why.
He gets a goal line carry that pays off right there.
Yeah, he barely needs to do anything at 7,500.
Barely needs to do anything.
Yeah. I don't mind that. So I think it's pretty straightforward. If you're going to play Derek Carr or Trevor Lawrence on FanDuel as your MVP, you should definitely be looking to stack them with at least one of their pass catchers. We just added an option on the domination state. Take a look. We just added an option on the domination station to is this the right slate? No, of course not. I'm like, where is that? But maybe we don't have the option on there. Wait a minute. We just added an option where you could it's now auto checked. If QB is captain MVP, then stack with at least one. So you no longer have to create that rule. If you don't want to stack your captain, you can uncheck it, but it is automated now. We are trying to not allow you to make mistakes in your lineup by creating stacks that are already predetermined and built in to attack these. And guys, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to DFS Army, part of the reason DFS Army, why you see those helmets at the top of every showdown, is because the Domination Station Optimizer is the absolute best tool in the industry for taking down showdowns. We've taken down more showdowns than anyone else with any other tool. So we crush these. It's just another reason to be signed up at DFS Army as a subscriber to get access to these tools and these cheat sheets, which we do for every slate across every single sport. You see these beautiful ones that we do on these public showdown shows, but we do this for everything. Notes, sharp players sharing their top plays, and of course the ownerships and all the other stuff that we have going on here at DFS Army. So get signed up. Free month offer as well right there. If you are not signed up and you want to try out DFS Army for the first time, click on the free month tab on the DFSarmy.com website and you will see how to get a free month of VIP. If you like it, you stick around. If you don't like it, you cancel. You say, fuck you, don't like you. And I say, all right, nice knowing you. No sweat. No risk.
Just do it. It's worth it.
Deuces.
What was the risk? What, you got a free month of something? Oh, it's horrible.
You probably got a deposit. You probably got free money on one of those sites by depositing too.
I joined their Discord and everybody was really nice to me.
I have to go back and confirm, but I'm pretty sure that's how I started. I think I did the free month.
That's what I'm saying. I want everybody to do the free month because that's our best way. Come in, see what we're about. We love teaching, and everybody who comes in says the same thing. Oh my God, this is really different from what I thought. Everybody's so nice. Everybody's teaching and everybody's helping each other. And I've been a member of 10 different places and no one was like that. Whoa, this is really different. That's the reaction we get. I can show you email after email.
Yep.
Text message after text message. As a matter of fact, you guys in the chat know it. You tell them. You tell them in the chat. Tell them what's up. All right. So with that being said, I think with these cheapies available, it's going to be very, very easy to put together a lineup here that looks good on FanDuel. So let's take a look. Pushing the speed here, as I know we are recording this fairly close to lineup. You know, it's almost 6 o'clock. Well, we've got a few hours left.
Keep forgetting.
All right, Bobbywow, MVP.
All right, you guys are hating on ETN and Kamara, so I maybe you pick. I'm still probably going ETN.
Let me just look at T-Law.
Yeah, I like ETN.
Expected to play. Go through a pregame workout to confirm. It's a knee
sprain, I think. Yeah.
Oh, it's so tough to know how that's going to look. It's so tough to know how that is going to look. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Derek Carr played and he had the shoulder issue and then he couldn't throw the football? And how would you know that?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But again, I think Lawrence, you know, he's capable of putting up decent numbers in the pocket too. So it'll be interesting to see.
Austin, you know, as far as the captain goes, like wide receiver,
maybe in a low scoring game.
It's rare that they get there. If you had to pick a wide receiver, Bobbywow, or tight end like an Evan Ingram, is there anybody here that you're like, oh yeah, let me like if to me the first alternate MVP was Taysom. He could do it. He could get you 21 on this site and be the nuts at very low ownership.
He could, yeah.
Fausto's in. There we go. I love it. See? Get in there. It's free month.
Yep.
But you have to follow the instructions on that page. Follow it carefully so you get your free month. So who are we starting with?
ETN for me.
ETN. All right. Drop ETN in here. Got to put a QB, and I know this is disgusting. Man, I think I'm going to go
I think you're right.
Derek Carr, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Carr. From here, we got 10K left. So I want to scroll down. And there's so many. I don't care if you choose Evan Ingram, quite honestly, or Taysom Hill. Tay. Both of them are super relevant, and both of them are fine. I'm going to choose
let's go Ingram. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Ingram.
I should have known.
Now I'm going.
Ingram has better TD upside, I think.
For the brand.
Why not both, Geek? Why not both?
No, because it's going to leave me too much money. And all right. Well, if you put them both in there.
Oh, dang.
You know, I was hoping to get the Kamara, right?
But if you take out, you could take out Ingram and play Jamal Williams.
Let me look at this. I'm not doing that.
Olave. Taysom Hill can't be the only pass catcher with Carr.
Yeah, you're not convincing me on fucking Jamal Williams. I'm not doing that. But
he's plus 225 to score.
Dude sucked when there was no Kamara. He did nothing.
I think he's better with Kamara.
He's better with Kamara.
He is better in a backfield with somebody else.
Oh, come on. We do have a veterans discount as well. Ask me about it though. I don't like to give out that code because I don't want people to abuse it. I need to check your veteran bona fides before you get the big veteran discount. I need a military card. I'm going to ask you what your where you were stationed.
Jeez.
I'm details. If there's a medal involved, it's a bigger discount. Purple Heart, you're probably in for free.
Respect the vetting.
Yeah, listen, we love our United States military here. Sorry if you don't like it. We do. Okay, so Taysom Hill, that gets me Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley, but I don't like it. I'm not doing that. So this doesn't really jive all that well either.
Olave, you got to have Olave. I mean, Olave and Carr will be a popular pairing for me.
All right, so I got. Oh, here we go. Okay, Olave. Oh, I like this. Okay, this is going in a good direction. And then for the last spot here, probably a kicker or Michael Thomas. So with Olave in there, and Taysom Hill and Derek Carr. That is a little too much from this one team.
And like, I don't mind leaving salary on the table and going to Ingram. I really don't.
I really do like Ingram as well. Yeah, I don't mind that. And now look at this. All right, so I like this lineup. So here we've just created what I think is a very flexible lineup, right? So I can go here and actually do a bunch of little switches. I can get Trevor Lawrence in there. I can go from Taysom Hill to pretty much any kicker, a Saints defense, which I think is much more relevant than anything that we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
And Expectations Media Company just mentioned we haven't even talked a lot about Shaheed.
Very volatile, but the upside is there.
9,500, but a touchdown scorer as well. He gets a big play. Totally not the FBI. Had a chance. Still serving? Yeah, you got to hit me up after, bro. Give you the military. I shouldn't talk about this publicly. I don't need half our membership coming at me for.
No, yeah, come on, bring everyone over.
Those guys do
all the military. Thing I need. It'll be gone. All right, so this is a really flexible way, and part of what we try to show on screen is not necessarily like plug in this lineup, but rather, here's a sort of a flexible approach. I will say this again. So here are my final thoughts, guys, for me. I really do think this is a Saints game. I think that the knee issue for Lawrence is scary enough that I think there's a real shot of the game going weird where Jags are just a little bit off their game. There's also the flip side, which is, hey, they're coming off those wins. They had the big wins in London. They've been playing well, and maybe that will keep going in momentum. So I think, there's two sides to any coin, but there's that possibility that the knee really does mess up Lawrence. And that's really the thing, Bobbywow, that I'm trying to really just fully comprehend here. They literally needed to work him out today before they said he was going to play. That is a certain level of severity, but maybe he just wraps it up and he doesn't feel it. I don't know.
Yeah. The differentiator.
Race fan, DK, Carr captain with Kamara and Thomas in the flex. Too much? You can't play Carr captain, DK.
I don't think so.
He's so cheap. He's so cheap.
But
I don't know. So inexpensive. Oh, no, not in a single entry. Jeez. No.
Yeah.
Really, I think he's a fine flex play.
Yeah, definitely. And better on FanDuel. But two points for me to bring up before I forget. Number one, do you know who's generating the most turnovers in the league this season? It's Jacksonville Jaguars.
Really?
Is the Jacksonville
Jaguars defense.
We're looking at defense. We want to look at turnovers. Someone who can, create a play where they find the end zone. I think the Jaguars are firmly in play too. The Saints get all the attention.
They're cheap too. They're cheap.
The Jags are in play as well.
Up north, you have a final thoughts for us here.
I think we need to remember that this is likely going to be something like 17-10, right? And it doesn't take much for guys to get there on that. And it's weirdly harder for QBs to get there in a low scoring game too. So like those positional players, like it only takes one, right? Like it only takes one catch to get somebody there. So it's going to be a weird lineup that wins tonight, I think, or our non-traditional lineup, I guess is what I would say.
Two good defenses that defense great together.
Wow.
It's like peanut butter and chocolate.
My heart just skipped a beat. That was beautiful.
Peanut butter and chocolate.
I think for me, it's, don't be afraid to roll out no QBs on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I think there's a very real chance we don't see a QB in the optimal. And the other item too, I think Kamara is a legitimate one of my top plays. And look, he put up big points against the Bucs. He put up big points against the Patriots, was a key component of the offense. And those are two of the top rated rushing defenses in the league as well. So don't shy away too much from Kamara either.
Kamara. Drill it in the brain.
Kirk and Kamara. That's the K's. That's my jam tonight.
I like this prediction. Tay throws for more touchdowns than Carr tonight.
I mean, that could be one, but
well, he could run for one. and throw for one, and then
But I mean,
think we
like
need to
Carr
turn
could throw
that back.
0.
Taysom Hill or Evan Ingram? Who outscores who? That's got to be the turd hat bet.
Somebody's wearing turd hat in that one.
Oh.
I'll do it. I'll do the Taysom side. I know you want me to be the Taysom side. You take Evan.
I'll take Ingram.
You
All
don't
right,
have
DFS
a
North
turd
takes
hat.
I don't have a hat, but I will wear
I think it could be
something.
Taysom. I think it could be Taysom.
You want to take the Taysom side? No, you can't take. That's my brand. You want to take the
That's my
Taysom side and
brand.
put me? I like Taysom for sure in that one. Actually, not for sure.
I'm neutral. I'll mediate. Okay, so I like the turd hat bet though.
I don't even know if we could do the bet. I'm on the Taysom side. If you want to take
I'm
the
going to
Evan
win, so it doesn't matter if I have one or not.
That's fair. That's fair.
Great point.
2 kickers in Kamara and FanDuel. Yeah, that's doable.
That's fine.
And HDSA pretty much said the truth, which is it's all a bit of a dice roll. So that is true as well. You never know in a showdown what can happen. But what we do know is that somebody's taking this thing down, and I hope it's one of us or one of you guys who are watching this. Hit that like button, be subscribed, do the free month of DFS Army. Do it right now. You won't regret it. NBA is starting in like days, in minutes. I don't even know. Right on the first slate is there. MLB still going. NBA around the corner. Every sport, NHL,
Hockey
is happening
on
now.
fire.
Bobbywow was teaching me about NHL. Apparently, he's a good rookie. Chicago Blackhawks, the Chicago Black Sox, doing
Jesus.
well.
Golf is still going on. They're playing in Japan. We don't ever get a break, so that's always good.
DFS up north is still watching golf, even in the
Still
heart of
grinding
winter
golf
time.
overnight in Japan. I
No
woke
on the
up in the middle
ground.
of the
No
night
one cares.
to
I
check
can't
the
play golf.
leaderboard.
Like
Hold
the
out.
KBO days back during COVID. You're grinding.
It's really nice, to be honest. Like when they go overseas, we don't get shot tracker and stuff like that, but I like that I can like write my showdown notes at 8 a.m. Like I'm into that instead of like when they're on the West Coast and it's 11 at night.
By the way, not to mention, League of Legends World Championships is happening now, or something's going on, because I'm seeing League of Legends boiling back up in the Discord as well. So everything's going on.
Soccer's been crushing. They've been doing really well too.
Yeah, that's right. So and we have a great soccer crew, like the best dudes.
Oh yeah,
and MMA.
So good.
So it really is nonstop going at DFS Army. We're taking down contests, but we're also a community dedicated to being the best that we can at DFS and bring the best tools possible to our members. And that's why our members win more than other places do, where it's mostly just staff wins that they tell you about. Our members are winning all the time. Sliders, 100K, another one this past week. So let's keep it going. Let's take down more tournaments. Let's keep the record. Let's keep those helmets at the top of the lineups. We will see you guys next time.